Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the planning meeting of the 1st of February. Unfortunately, Councillor Slatter, the chairman, is actually poorly and gives her apologies for this evening. We are therefore required to propose a chairman to run the meeting. Councillor Holland.
I'd like to propose Councillor Bull.
And I am happy to second that.
Thank you.
So you've got a substitute tonight.
Yeah, Tanya wanted to give her apologies for not coming. She has actually tested positive for COVID, and she didn't want you to think she was avoiding the meeting. I said no.
Stay at home. Stay at home.
Right. Well, welcome to the planning group or planning advisory committee meeting. We don't think there's going to be a fire alarm, but everything else has gone wrong today, so you never know. If there is, the evacuation point is across the road in the car park. So it's nice and cold, but I don't think there'll be any problem.
Are we allowed to go out that door?
Of course you are. It's a fire exit.
That's all right.
Yeah, or you can go down the stairs, but don't go in the lift.
Can I use that safety chair?
Only if I do it. Right. So, as Sharon said, the Deputy Clerk said, we do have apologies for absence from Councillor Slatter, but that's the only one.
As far as I'm aware, do we want to approve
Yeah, we
that?
have to propose to accept her absence.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Thank you.
So who's the seconder, sorry.
So I'm just going to read this because it's not me really saying it, it's Tanya, if you see what I mean. Declarations of interest. So
None that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of. None that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of.
None that I'm aware of.
No.
that's lucky. Nor me. Right.
Oh, I do know these people here.
Well, we all know them. I mean, we've been through that discussion before. I don't think we can apply it.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So, Chairman's report, which is to say, it's prepared for Tanya. Parish Councils Airport Association. Next meeting is scheduled for Thursday the 2nd, which I guess is tomorrow. I think you've probably read in the press that the latest appeal was unsuccessful. Although I do understand that they're going to have yet another go. But just so that you know, that's the situation. Welcome.
Can I ask, which appeal is it? Is it the appeal of the North Somerset Council or the appeal of the airport?
It's the appeal by the anti-airport group to the government person, and he's rejected it. Just for those who've just come in, should there be a fire, we are not expecting a fire exercise or anything. Obviously, there's an exit the way you came in. There's also a fire exit here, and the meeting point is in the car park the other side of the road. Right. Councillor Churchill, it looks as though he's going to attend. Do we know if he's actually attending tomorrow night to the airport?
I'm not quite sure, but he is aware of it.
He is aware. Okay. North Somerset Council has placed tree preservation orders on open spaces and land known as Hallett's Way. And there is a plan attached, which you could have got on the website if you wanted to see where that was. We have a 14-day reconsult from North Somerset Council for planning application 2756. This was circulated to the PAG members by email, and a formal response of no objection was made. Letter received from HSBC apologising for leaving. This doesn't really do anything, it's a lot of good. Right, and we move straight on in then to public participation. It's good to have some public here, at least if you have something that's a bit contentious and people come to the meeting. So if we start with Gillian and David Gunnell, Or do you want to do it the other way around? It's entirely up to you.
The other way around. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Catherine and Nick Joyson. If you could come a bit nearer to pick up on the mic.
You go to this one.
Yeah, just do a check.
Doesn't matter.
If I go there as well, and then you next person.
Can somebody online just please confirm that you can hear the meeting
Um,
okay?
For those that don't have a computer, this is the presentation we're going to do.
Yeah, I can. Lynn.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now I see a copy as well, please. Thank you. Shall we share one?
One over there, over there.
I saw it, read it today.
Same as that one.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
No,
No.
No. It's
I've seen it. I've
a
got that on.
presentation version of that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got it on here.
Okay, thank you very much. So we welcome the opportunity to comment on this planning application, and we're very pleased to see that the proposed development now consists of a single family dwelling as opposed to the 4 flats. However, we object to the application on the following grounds: the inappropriate and excessive size of the proposed building, scale, bulk and roof height, and with regards to the place between the neighbouring period properties and within the street scene. The overlooking and loss of privacy from the proposed ground floor balcony and the second floor roof terrace. The overbearing and overshadowing nature through excessive height and extensions to the rear towards our boundary. The impact on the neighbouring properties' foundations due to the construction of the basement level that's going down 3.7 metres. The submission of continued misleading and incorrect plans to support the application. Okay, slide 2. The scale, height, mass and form of the building. The application remains relatively unchanged from the previous application in terms of form, scale and height. However, it does increase the mass to produce, this is on the ground floor by the way, to produce a gross internal floor area of 498 square metres. So that's 5,360 square feet. That's still over the 3 stories, and that is 2.5 times larger than the existing property. It has extremely high sidewalls, and these are 9.6 metres, 31.5 feet above ground level at the rear. They have not removed the balconies on the second and the ground floors, both of which have large patio doors. It uses the full width of the plot, and that endangering the foundations to both the period properties on either side. And it dominates and overwhelms the neighbours, detracting from their charm and historical significance. On to slide 3, overlooking and loss of privacy. There's a large balcony on the ground floor leading from the main living room. That is now increased over the previous balcony to 4 metres from the back of the house and 7 metres from the rear of the kitchen area. And it comes across the full width of the building. It reaches our boundary, number 35. It's above the fence lines, has large patio doors. It has views into both neighbours' rear gardens and back into the neighbouring rear windows. On the second floor, there still is a roof terrace. It's extremely high. There are near vertical views going into the rear gardens at number 31 and 35, and it has panoramic views into all of the surrounding rear gardens. On to slide 4. It's overbearing and overshadowing. There's a high 4-storey wall, and it runs along our boundary, 9.6 metres high. And this is due to the slope going down. It starts at 7.5 at the front and goes to 9.6 at the rear. It extends 4.2 metres to the rear of the property at that same 9.6 metre height. And the height has increased by 1.5 metres over the existing wall of the current building, and they have brought it 1 metre closer. The vertical angle is 52 degrees from our window, and the plans are deliberately misleading. We'd like a visit from the LPA, if that can be helped by you guys. And we thank everyone from here that has been, either the ones that visited last week or the ones that came 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think all of us have actually been
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah. So on to incorrect and misleading plans. The heritage pitched roof on the existing and similarly the proposed elevations as a reference is missing. The applicants obviously consider this roof to be unimportant. Instead, they put scaffolding on both the existing and proposed elevations, clearly to try to disguise the increase in height. The parapet on our side is drawn, and that doesn't exist. There's only parapets on the other three sides. And this, we believe, is to disguise the increase in that wall height on our side of 1.5 meters. Down the bottom there on the left, there's the section 02 plans, and we have corrected their plans and put the overlaid in red. There is a false claim of 45-degree angle to our window. All they've done is draw a 45-degree line and moved that window into position without taking any measurements. And if you look at the picture on the right at the bottom, you can see how far out that is. They're not even close. They also draw incorrect ground levels. The correct level at the rear is 2.1 meters, minus 2.1 meters, as that's below the reference level of the pavement at the front. Again, this disguises the wall has a 9.6 meter relative height. There's also an incorrect fence level. They've drawn there like a fence or a wall, and this is clearly to disguise the overlooking impact of the ground floor balcony and the windows. On to slide 6. Now on the east elevation, this is new for this current application. They have drawn the outline of number 35 in foreground. They've drawn it in blue, and we have corrected it in red. Number 35 is drawn too high, too far rearwards. Clearly, this is to disguise how high the proposed is above number 35, which is actually lower than 30, 31 and 33, and to give a shrink look to the rear extension. Again, the fence line is drawn too high, and again to disguise the overlooking impact of the ground floor balcony. And if you look at the picture to the right, they are literally next to our boundary on that fence, and that fence is about knee height, about 0.6 meters high. The applicant is responsible for providing correct and accurate plans so that you and the LPA are able to make correctly informed decisions. And again, we ask for the LPA for a visit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you wish to speak next? Okay.
Just to echo,
Sorry, could you give your name so the
sorry.
public are aware of you online?
Okay, my name is David Gunner. I live at number 31 Beach Road West. We live the opposite side of 33 Beach Road West to Nick and Catherine.
Thank you.
Our house is the one pictured on the top left of the handout, and you'll see from that picture that the 33 Beach Road West currently sticks out beyond our house, and the proposed plans will increase the size of the bulk of the house next to ours. I'd like to start with thanking all of you for your time. This is the third time we've presented
Could you
to you.
speak up slightly just to make sure people online could hear it, please? Thank you.
This is the third time that we've presented here, and we appreciate the time you spent listening to us and visiting our properties. So I'd echo Nick and Catherine's concerns. I'd like to summarise our objections very briefly. We have 5 main objections, and I'm going to talk to 4 of them. The first one is the building's footprint and mass. The proposed development has more floor area than the existing house, more than doubles the size of the floor area. Importantly, the total floor area is 20% greater than the floor area of the plans that were rejected both by this planning committee and by North Somerset Council's planning committee and by the planning inspector. So they're greater than the plans that were previously rejected. We're concerned about noise and the loss of privacy from overlooking, particularly on the ground floor balcony, and from the extensiveness of the ground floor balcony looking back into our property's upstairs bedroom window, which is often used by our daughter and her family, and our dining room, which will both be visible from the decking area that's proposed. We're concerned, and I understand this isn't a planning issue, but we are very concerned about the disturbance to bedrock that will occur from the excavations to the basement that will occur right adjacent to our property and will go down 3 meters or more into the bedrock next to our 200-year-old house, which we imagine has got no foundations, as it's a very old property. And fourthly, we're concerned about the proximity of the proposed new garage, which will abut our property, leaving us limited access to that side of our property should we wish to paint it. And I think importantly for people, you can see the proximity of the garage from the top right photograph on the handout I've shown you. You can see where there was no garage, there's now a proposed garage that goes right up to the side of our property. Importantly for the people at Porter's Head who are walking along Beach Road West, I think one of the nice things about walking along the road is you can look to your right as you're walking towards Lake End area, and you can see views from that gap and other gaps along the road. That's now going to be obscured by this garage that's been placed there. We're no experts in design or architecture, but the kind of flaws that Nick has pointed out in his presentation raise serious concerns to us about the developer's ability to deliver the plans and the accuracy of the plans as presented, and we're worried about the risk to the foundations of our property. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Before we take a comment online, you went this time, Roger, to have a look.
Yes.
Do you wish to make any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I had a look around both the properties, and it's only from when you get on site that you really, I think, understand the scale of it. The problem is the site slopes, and therefore when there's a ground floor balcony essentially at the back, it's a first floor balcony, because it literally is at fence height. So I can imagine most people would have an objection to their neighbour raising a structure in their back garden that was almost to the height of the fence to sit on. So I think that's probably it's a very, very large house anyway. The plan is a very, very large house anyway, but I think it just feels as if it's being pushed too far and to the detriment of the neighbours.
Okay. Paddy?
Yes, I was with Roger.
Sorry, yeah.
So, I can add a few comments. I was amazed the proposed building's absolutely huge, and I'm very suspicious as to what they might use it for. I mean, they've got separate rooms. I've listed them as cinema, gym, games room, sauna, 2 studies. You know, it goes on and on. Are they going to divide it up? Are they going to use it to rent out? But it's absolutely enormous. And I agree with Roger, it's only when you go there that you realise the enormity of what they're proposing. I think one other thing which probably isn't relevant from a planning point of view, but I'm very sceptical about the number of letters of support. I've never seen that many letters of support. And I think in one of your comments you say that it's from local people. We have no idea whether they're made by local people or friends and relations who live all around the country.
But North Somerset will
They
know
will know,
where
yes,
they've all come
yes,
from.
and
Yes.
I would like them to have a look and see where they do come from, because all the letters of support are very similar. You get to be very sceptical sitting on this committee.
Janet's behind it.
Yeah, Janet?
Is it going to be part of the Southwest Coastal Path? I can't see any other way for the Southwest Coastal Path to go at that point, because
It's nowhere near it, is it?
No.
no, it's not.
No.
Okay, because where are they going to get through to that?
Oh no, it's nothing to do with that, Janet.
Is it
No.
because I know it's
The
going to
side
go
road,
along
isn't it?
Wood Hill Road, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
Yeah. I just wondered if it was one of the cut throughs, because I can't see any other way of going through the coast unless it goes past there.
No, it's further down, I think.
Is it?
Mm.
Okay. But this business of not being able to see through to the sea view, I think is important for amenity for the town.
Then?
Yes, let me just put my picture up.
You look there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
as I was reading the objections and supports and whatnot, I came to the conclusion that the support notes were because locals were perhaps so fed up with what is there, and that they haven't looked at the detail of what might be there. And so they're supporting the idea of a modern change or some sort of change without really looking at the immensity and the difficulty for the neighbours. That's my only comment. I put a written comment in of objection.
Okay.
Could they actually intend, Barbara, I'm
It's
so
okay, that's
sorry.
okay.
I do
You can
apologise,
go
I haven't
first,
seen.
no problem.
Just very quickly, I'm just wondering whether they intend to, along the line, turn it back into the flats that they
Well,
want.
that's what Paddy's
Yeah.
concern is, I think.
Yes.
Bob?
I'm just wondering, obviously with obviously these highlighted of the support. I'm just wondering, what was it Nick? Have you actually spoken to your residents along that road, along the road?
Most of the ones we know are all against it.
So,
Yeah.
so it does put question. I'm not trying to say anything, but it does put question if you've got support
Yeah,
and it's not from the road it's on.
We don't know for certain. It sounds like some are saying they're from the road, but one thing we did pick up on is that I think 8 out of 9 of them all say we fully support. It's in there somewhere in the thing, almost like they were told to say that.
Yeah, I mean,
phrase.
obviously I came down before and I spoke to some of the residents on that road and they certainly weren't supportive of it.
Yeah,
So
I think we've now
I'm a
got
bit
about
confused
10 or
on that.
11 objections, and we know that those are mostly the ones that are all around.
Yeah.
us.
Okay, thanks for that. Nick.
Yeah, going back to what people have been saying about we wonder what it's going to be used for. I don't know what family needs 7 bathrooms. It seems
I could say something funny, but I won't.
I was thinking of something funny as well.
very good.
Could I just
American guy.
Lynn?
Could I just comment? In the past, you have turned down planning permissions where they had like dog rooms and other rooms. Where a room is big enough to be a bedroom, I think the council classes it as a bedroom, which would mean they'd need more parking.
No, they don't.
No, unfortunately, Lynn, when we raised this before, if it's not written as a bedroom, then we can't assume it's a bedroom.
We understand your point.
It's the other way round.
Yeah.
Or two, and that would mean they had 16 bedrooms, I think it adds up to, or 15 or something.
Well, maybe they want a hotel.
Oh, don't.
Something else was about the garage being right up to the edge of one of the properties. I did wonder if that was because it was the only way they could get the minimum size garage in that gap.
Yeah.
Good point.
And if they can't, it means they can't say that the garage is another car parking space.
I think my only point on the garage was if they'd taken it further forward, if I got that right way round, they'd taken it further forward, you'd have had a bigger gap. Because it's a bit like that.
But then they would have lost a car parking space. Because
there's no real reason why they have to build the house as big as they do, so that they could build the garage that size. The plan that always has been, I imagine, to demolish the house completely, the existing house, and rebuild it. So the fact that they've squeezed it right up to the both boundaries on both sides just kind of means, well, it's already 5,300 square feet. The house itself could be smaller in size because it doesn't need to be quite that big, and therefore there could be some space down the side.
I think also you've got to think about the average UK 4-bed detached house is 150
square meters.
1,500 square feet roughly. So it's the size of 3 4-bed detached houses in
And
total.
and it is still 2.5 times the size of the current house that's on there, and much the same as twice the size as.
In terms of comments that we're going to put in on the thing, we take those that are already there. Sorry.
We'll deal with that when we get to it.
We could do it now, as it's
There's
all
other
in our
people-
minds.
Well, there's other people.
There's other people here that are talking about other planning applications. That's my concern.
Yeah, although,
to be fair.
okay, well, we can do that. We can do it that way if you like. Take all their comments first and then do it. Okay. So,
If you
yeah,
finish-
we'll leave it at that then, and
The next.
you'll see what we've said anyway.
Mrs. Brunt.
Brunt, that's the ones that came in late or at the back.
Did you want to?
Do you want to
address-
come forward and speak?
Hello.
Hi.
First of all, I'd like to say that there's only one person. Oh, sorry, Cynthia Brunt, 3 St Augustine's Close. Only one of us in the close were told that there was planning application in, and that was by text 3 days before Christmas.
That's not good enough.
So if he hadn't have had that text, I wouldn't know to be here. So my first complaint is privacy. I've got a bungalow, and as you can see from the photo, it's low down because of the way of the land.
Sorry, can I just add, is this the planning application for 254 Down Road?
Yes.
Although it
Oh,
isn't.
sorry, the access.
I know the access is through St
from-
Augustine's,
yes.
but it's actually referenced as
That's right, yeah.
254 Down Road.
Yes,
Just making
I
because it
sure.
assume
doesn't
that's- I assume
actually-
that's the landowner.
Yes, he doesn't. It won't touch Down Road at all.
Yeah, no, I understand. that.
Yeah.
I've seen the plans. I just wanted to clarify which one we were talking about
Oh,
to
right.
make sure I had the right one.
Okay.
That's great, thank you.
So from my perspective, I've got 4 windows across the back, and being at least 4 foot lower than the land on that side, it would look like a townhouse rather than a house. So it would actually look into all my windows along the back. That's a picture of the turning where in between my bungalow and my neighbour's bungalow. So it's very tight to get around there with big lorries.
So I know this.
That's some of the drains that.
Oh, you mentioned that were mentioned in
Yeah.
your thing, yes.
I know the area well.
That's all the drains, and that's the state of them as they are now. Some are even pedestrian drains and not mobile drains. So a lorry could go into them.
Yeah, I can see that.
We'll go straight down there, isn't
Yeah.
Pass it then. Yeah. That's just to show the closeness of the
Did they
2
see them again?
bungalows.
Yes.
Mine is slightly raised to my neighbour. Again, so the gutters are sort of coming across, so the lorries could actually hit the gutters.
Take them out.
That's it's quite a steep close, as you can see from that picture,
Yes.
and it's got quite a tight bend,
At the corner.
so you
there.
could come round the corner and have a head-on with one of the lorries.
Oh,
Last summer they decided to get rid of a pond in their back garden, and all the mud came down into the close. They left it, and my neighbour got home from work and had the job of cleaning it all. Took him hours.
so that's how it could go.
So that's what I'm
Yeah.
expecting to happen. That's a digger they had up there to plough it all out.
And they took it through your land.
Well, he says he owns that bit of land, but I'm here. This is the front of my car. So I couldn't walk out with my dog to take it for a walk because of all the mud. And these are just, they say about wildlife. That was on the roof of my neighbour's.
Yeah.
And that was one that I had in my garden, so it could affect all these. So that's that. So I've also got 2 windows on the side of my bungalow where he would drive the lorries up, which are very close, obviously, because there's no footpath. So again, it's going to affect the windows, and I'm also worried about subsidence.
Have you been able to establish the ownership of the tarmac between your bungalow and the one
No.
next door?
No.
Not on your deeds?
No, I've had a look, but my neighbour, who will probably speak to you in a moment, he moved in after I did, so whether he's got more idea what's on his deeds than mine. Thank you very much. But yes, it's a big concern to me. I'm worried about subsidence and, you know, the lorries going past there because they are huge, and especially scaffolding lorries. And where are they going to put these, and is it going to stop me coming in and out of my place, you know?
Okay. Did you say the other neighbour is here?
Yes, Mr. Tippins.
Yeah, okay.
I'm here, but I didn't realise how it worked here.
Okay.
No,
So
that's fine.
that's fine. Is there anything
We've
else you
never
want to
been
add?
to one of these
That's all right.
meetings,
No,
so I
that's
didn't
all
know
right.
we should be bringing the
Thanks,
plans.
No, that's
No,
fine.
no,
You're
no,
fine.
we've
You're
already
absolutely fine.
All right.
Thanks for bringing them in, Sue. Yeah,
Can you come here to the
speaker.
table, because this is the speaker, and therefore the people online can hear, and also it will go on the
It's recorded.
on the recording, which will be on the Town Council website.
Did you say Tippett? T-I?
TIPPINS.
Depends.
Tippins,
You
okay.
can see.
Sorry?
And you're a resident wants to talk about the same plan?
Yeah, I'm in the other bungalow
Oh, okay.
next, where the gap is. My concern is, as Cynthia just stated, is the width is only, give or take, it's about 4 meters. And our roof, which is on a bungalow, as you can appreciate, is quite low. Cynthia's got windows there. And to remove the mud, which is going to be a lot of mud coming out of there, groundworks, to get a 17-ton grab wagon round there, 8-wheeler, is, I mean, I don't know where anybody's been up there and seen the properties.
Yeah, I've been up.
Yeah, I've been up.
I mean, I've driven HGVs for 35 years. I know what goes around the corner and what doesn't go around the corner. And you ain't going to get 8-wheel rigid going around there very easy without taking our roof and our eaves off and Cynthia's windows out. So yeah, very concerned. And the side of our property, both properties, apparently, the walls are ours. The little bits that runs outside and all the bit in the middle is the two.
Is that all shown on your deeds? Have you looked?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So with the weight of that coming out of there, subsidence, and it's very close to our walls.
Got any idea what the foundations are underneath the tarmac bit? Was it there when, it's probably there
It
when
was
you
there when I
moved
moved
in?
in, yes.
Was the tarmac there when you moved in as well?
I don't think
Okay,
it's very thick though, because
All right.
it's sort of, it's got potholes in it.
right.
Our other
Okay.
neighbour over here, we're here. Mike and Christine's been here longer than us, so I don't know how long they've been here. I don't know if they know anything as well.
No,
But the tarmac doesn't look.
looks fairly new,
Yeah, well, it's not new.
just kept clean.
there since 1980s.
Well, someone like me pressure washes it when he lets a pond go down, yeah.
Yeah.
And it says the rain will wash it away. I don't think so.
No. Were you there when it was put in, the tarmac?
Well, we moved in not long after.
Do you want to come and?
Not really.
I was just trying to get a feel for the foundations.
It's
of
always
the
been
tarmac.
there. It's always been
Okay,
86, and it's the original tarmac to them.
okay, all right. Because that's the only bit that's tarmac, isn't it? If you go down onto the, what I would call the actual
He adopted,
road,
allegedly,
yeah,
the council where they come up and pick the bins up from.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
stopped.
but that's all gravel,
That's all. You can see that's good.
yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay,
But it's just that for us, from especially me and Cynthia, it's the
access,
yeah. access. It's all right saying we use smaller. So what comes down to, so you use smaller trucks or
Still got to get round the corner.
they still got to come. So what's going to bring all that down between the two bungalows?
Well, even when they're properties, you've still got an access issue, really.
Oh, yeah, well, cars, couple, I don't know, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
deliveries.
All right.
you know, and yeah, and it's just a mess, you know. And the way they're positioning that they are looking into our properties and then
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, like we said to the other people, you'll be able to see our decisions, but we'll hear from all the people that are here, and then we will make
About
our.
the refuse bins, there'd be extra bins, and there's only parking lay-by that you can put them in. So
Is that what you do? You put them all down in that little lay-by
yeah,
bit?
and they're all
I
bunched
noticed
up
some on one of the
against the
pictures.
wall.
Yeah.
If there's any extra people there, it's actually going to be in the road, which is going to be awkward to
Okay.
try and pass.
And there's no point repeating questions because otherwise people don't know what they're
Yeah.
being asked.
Yeah. There's various queries about access, basically. I think
And
that's
parking
what
as
we're
well.
hearing.
Parking
Well,
is-
there isn't going to be any
well,
parking, is there?
well, yeah.
Okay.
Who actually did you? Can I ask the question? Was it you who seen the properties, the gap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I visited as
Oh,
well.
yeah, there we go.
Bob?
We all know it.
I know it may be not the right time, but it probably is the right time to mention it. The future of cars will be one of those issues that parking will be a point, because obviously a lot of cars are going to need parking charging points. And I think that needs to be highlighted on planning, or maybe talk to North Somerset Council with regards to that, because that will be the future. And also recycling may be broadened by the government and the request. So again, it's another point that obviously we need to look at in the future when it comes down to parking, is where those charges are going to go, because obviously everyone sooner or later is going to need someone to charge their car.
Nicola?
Not what I was going to say, but what Bob's just said is a very good point, but unfortunately that's not part of current planning
No, it's just
legislation.
saying
So
it needs to be
it's
taken
something
into
that
account.
it could be discussed by the planning department, and they could see if they could wiggle something in somewhere, but that wouldn't be happening soon enough for this. Can I just ask, there was some issue with the proposed access.
Yes.
There's some dispute over who owns that land?
No, not a dispute, but we just can't work out if it's been adopted or not by
Right.
the council.
Right, so I'm just writing an email to the planning officer who's dealing with this, and I just want to make sure that I've got the issues.
Thank you.
as
He's
stated.
already done that.
We've already done that.
Yeah, you have, and you know, you don't know, you do know.
It came back as a,
We came back as a non-committal thing,
Oh, right.
basically.
yeah.
It's one of those. Yeah.
I'll mention it then, I won't say that there is a
Okay.
dispute.
Also Lynn?
on the,
Sorry,
can I just say
sorry.
one thing? There's no walkway whatsoever. If
No.
there was-
No, no pavement, is there?
Correct. No footway in.
Yeah. Lynn?
No, I've no comment on this one.
Oh, sorry.
It's Dorothy.
Dorothy? Did you want to say something, Dorothy?
No, thank you.
Okay, but you've got your hand up.
Oh, no, thank you.
Right. Okay. Well, again, we'll have some discussion and put our comments, and you'll be able to see what they are. And I think that's all we can say. We've heard all your comments. Thank you for coming and making your comments.
They can stay. What's they can stay?
Well, no, I'm not saying that they can. I'm saying they don't have to. So, I mean, they said preference to popping in the pub on the way back. I think you missed that.
Somebody, Mr. and Mrs. James maybe that wanted to.
Was that were you Mr. and Mrs. James, you were the other couple, weren't you? Yeah, they made
Actually,
their
you
comment.
don't want, right, okay.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so if you want to crack on
So-
with doing the minutes and getting those little couple of things done and then crack on to the plan applications.
Okay, so getting back to the agendas then. The agenda, consider the minutes of last meeting for approval.
You propose to have it?
Yeah.
Okay, those in favour?
Seconded by who was it, sorry?
Roger.
Roger, sorry, I can't see him.
Janet? You here?
you. I think so.
I think it's unanimous.
Was that a full, that was it,
Yeah.
hands up, because I missed it, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, so that's resolved.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and then if you
Okay.
go on to the plan applications, and
Right,
if you want to follow that sequence and do with 3003 first, which is 33 Beach Road, if you just change
so
your.
it is first then.
And if you change the next one on the second, okay?
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
they
well,
just need
stay.
to change your meeting just to.
Okay.
They'll stay in.
Just quick.
Yeah, okay, well, it's up, yeah, we're gonna,
Yeah, we always do.
Change your meeting.
so
3003.
we're doing 3003, which is Beach Road first then.
Yeah.
Right. So we've already got a substantial list of comments. Do we wish to add to them? I mean, points that I took separate where I don't know whether we can actually technically ask North Somerset to consider the format of the letters of support, whether we give them a hint or whether we
Well, let's
just
do the
assume.
important things first.
Like the overlooking
I
and
think
those
that's
sort of
fairly,
things.
but yeah,
Yes.
Keep it
okay.
nice and succinct.
Doubling the size of the floor area seems to me to be crackers. I know that's
I
not
can't
very,
think you, I don't think
not
you
very
would actually
technical
put
term.
that.
No, not very technical
Some
term,
wasn't
but I think,
Overbearing to start.
yeah, I think we question the size, which, as you say, is overbearing, I guess, is the
Yes.
Are we doing
Technical
points before we
phrase.
do the vote?
No, I think you need to go through what you're actually physically
yeah,
statements you're going to put through. So overbearing on neighbours, was that one?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the second one is overlooking, which is, again, beyond reasonable, I believe, whatever the formal words we normally use for
Overbearing
that.
and overlooking on neighbours.
Lack
Yeah.
of privacy.
Lack of privacy.
I think also that, when talking about overlooking, to say it isn't just the immediate neighbours, but it is much wider than that because of the slope of the land.
Yeah,
And therefore the overlooking from the balconies and terrace and everything is also much, I'm trying to think of the wording, where you want to sort of
it's an exaggerated situation because of the slope
Yeah,
of the
you could
land.
say
Yeah,
overlooking immediate neighbours and the surrounding neighbourhood.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yes, because I think that then covers it much more, doesn't it? I think that we could also say that about the mass and scale of development.
yeah,
Yes, not in keeping.
yeah.
Mhm. Height out of keeping with properties on both sides.
Yeah. The other one that I had was the excavation issue, because I think that's pretty serious.
Yeah, but that's more of a building regulation thing.
Yeah, but
we could
Would
say,
we not mention it?
yeah, but we do the planning ones first.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on the tip of my tongue, wasn't it? Maybe lose it. Oh, yes. Misleading drawings to
Inaccurate
inaccurate drawings.
drawings
to
illustrating the development.
Yeah. Which make the property look smaller and less.
Less imposing.
Yeah.
And it actually is.
The size of the extension at the rear of the lower ground floor is out of keeping with neighbouring properties.
Yeah.
The garage being adjacent to the side wall of the cottage next door limits access to their
Yeah,
property.
it is too close. Sue, you might know, there used to be a rule that said you had to be at least a metre away. Is that
I'm
wrong?
just looking for that.
I think that was one that you mentioned about somebody near you where they had.
Yeah, metre and a half it was, but
Yeah.
they still were able to.
Yeah.
I'm not
Did you
sure.
used to have access down that side.
No.
So they're not taking away any access that you currently enjoy. Okay.
I think Bob had his hand up.
Obviously, I don't want the public leading us, but obviously it looked like we all agreed for an LPA visit.
Yes.
Are we agreeing on that?
We can support the request,
We
I
could
guess.
request
So we're all happy to agree on it, yeah?
Yeah, we can
certainly.
support the request.
Marvellous then.
And then we could mention the
Have a discussion, yeah.
the similarity of the letters of support
Yeah.
makes us question.
And I think it's worth mentioning the fact that it's slightly bigger than the one that has already been rejected.
It's quite a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So if we leave that to the last statement, then
Yeah.
that will falsify the rest, won't it?
We could say that the things in favour lack veracity.
Well, I think we'll talk to them about that because they will come. If we've asked for a visit, they'll come.
Would we be in favour of calling it in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we want to ask the board councillor to call it in then?
If minded to approve, yes.
Had something else. The lower ground floor, which is when comparing it with the existing basement, the proposed lower ground floor is approximately 1.5 times the size of the existing depth of the basement. So in other words, the basement is this high and the proposed lower ground floor is this high. So in other words, you are digging down a lot deeper, and therefore that could compromise the neighbouring property, which has
I think
minimal
the excavation issue is quite
foundation.
serious.
Yeah, I think it is serious, yes, even though it's not actually a planning issue.
Yeah. Okay.
We got all that now.
Yeah. Wish I could type like that. I think.
But asking for it to be called in means it can't be approved just by planning officers. It has to go to the planning committee, where it will be considered by council.
I think we've covered, from our point of view, all the issues there. So I would propose that we object formally.
I second that. And first and fourth and
Those in favour?
Favour of rejecting.
Okay.
Can I just ask, for that big planning committee in North Somerset Council, can these people go to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you will be able to go and put your points to the full council at North Somerset.
I think it's advisable, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, that's if it goes to committee.
If it goes to,
Yeah, I mean, if it
committee,
doesn't,
you could
if they
also-
reject the officers, then it won't go to committee, will it?
Yeah, no, if the officer's not minded to approve, then the officer can go back. What frequently happens is the officer goes back to the applicant and sees if some compromise can be reached. So they'll come back with new plans that we'll look at, and they'll go back and say no, and they'll say yes to that and no to the other and everything else. That quite often is what happens.
Presumably that's what's happened on the previous 2 applications.
Yeah, they've gone. The officers try to get them to compromise, and then they've gone no.
Yeah.
If they refuse to compromise, they'll either withdraw. They'll be told no, it's not going to be passed, and they'll withdraw, or they will be this hoo-ha, no matter what. But if the officer is minded to approve, if the officer thinks that they've fulfilled all their legal obligations, bear in mind that what the officers are looking for is the legalities of what they're doing. Okay, there's nothing to do with views and opinions and everything else. They're just looking at the legal sort of case. So that's when the district councillors say, according to the ward, and you've got Councillor Tim Staten, he'll go to the officer and say, if you're minded to approve, I'd like to call it to committee. That's when it goes to committee. I can't remember if the neighbours are informed.
don't know.
about that. But Tim would obviously let somebody know. And then yes, if it goes to committee, by all means email all the committee members. Why wouldn't you? You would email us if it goes to that committee. Email the committee members, let them know.
And they can go to the meeting as well.
Yeah, you can go to the meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Stuff we didn't know before we joined, before we got elected. Yeah.
And as we go, as they say.
Yeah.
Okay. And give my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye.
Doc.
Okay, bye.
So the next one is 2869 reference, which is strange. It's 254 Down Road, but it isn't. I know it's just weird. And obviously we've heard comments. Anybody want to make any specific comments to go in that aren't there?
We need to decide if we object or not first.
I thought you had the comments first to decide whether you want to object or not. We objected to that one that's just gone.
Yeah, but
We haven't actually voted it.
yeah,
They did.
Oh,
yes,
Yeah, we
yes,
did.
we did. But
Sorry.
you know,
So
Paddy
get
is
back.
correct,
Start
because
again.
of course we should say, first of all, whether we object or have no objection, and then if you object, that's when you go for the actual reasons why you object.
That almost seems back to front to me, because presumably you discuss about it.
You don't believe me.
Well, I don't mind if you want to
So
do
we
it the other
just
way round.
object first, do the comments, and then object afterwards.
Well,
But
that
it's especially
seems logical to talk
this
about it
one,
first, I
think.
would have thought.
Yeah,
But
so I would have thought as well.
Okay.
Our chairman, this is up to you.
yeah, I want to talk about it first.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, all the current comments on the sheet are objections, so I think we know where we stand, but we want to hear if there's any further comments, really.
Okay, further comments to what was selected?
No, I don't have
No.
anything to add to what's already on the form.
I don't have anything to add, but what I would like to say is, if he wants these things in his back garden, why can't they go through his property to do it?
Yeah, I don't think we can say that, but if we were getting somebody to come and look, we might be able to say. I must admit,
I
it's,
already asked him that.
What did he say? Seriously?
I said to him when I first got the letter, I was the only one at the letter, I think, so no, that's a lie. Now somebody else, one more person had a letter to see him. And I went straight up round to see him. And I said, David, I said, just had a letter today. I said, I knew he was going to build something in the garden when you let the pond go. And I blah blah. He said, I said, which way's all that mud's coming out? He said, St. Augustine's, yours, and your way. I said, I don't think so. So you know, I said, well, they come up here. He said, well, it ain't coming down here. Access.
anyway, okay.
Thank you.
Can we
Okay.
propose some objections then?
Yeah.
I think the
What have we got?
poor access to the site is really important for construction.
I think we need to say something stronger.
Inadequate?
What of, you know, what,
Inability to access the site.
Yeah, I wonder if we could turn it and say the choice of using rear access, because he has got a choice. He could use the front access.
well, it would
It's
go
tight,
through
it's
his
very tight.
garden,
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's pretty tight where it's coming in the back as well.
I'm not sure there's room for front
Yeah,
access.
I think poor
Look-
access
Looking
is.
at it on the map there, I don't think there's any way to get through from the front, which is probably why he's proposing to go from the back.
Yeah, because there's a narrow lane down to those houses.
Yeah, I
But he
think,
would have to cut off basically half his back garden.
but
Yeah.
we've got, I think Sue's right, we need something a bit stronger if it was used than poor access.
Yeah.
Unsuitable access.
Access is
not
inappropriate for a building site.
For construction,
Construction of building
yeah,
site. Building
inappropriate
site.
access for construction.
Bob, can you read out what we have put on this
That's what I'm reading from.
internal
That's what
spreadsheet?
I'm
Yeah,
reading from.
because
Okay, so we've already put on comments.
Yeah, no room to manoeuvre large vehicles.
Yes.
All
Yes.
access to site is St Augustine's Close. Cul-de-sac, poor access to site.
Overlooking the bungalows in St Augustine's Close.
Yeah.
And I think it is important to note that the immediate neighbours in St Augustine's Close have not all received notification. And so
Yeah.
have been unable to comment, or not unable,
Unaware.
Unaware.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said that you'd
At
received
the
a
time
letter.
of this
I was
meeting,
the first one to have a letter.
And somebody else said
And
that
I
you
think-
received it.
had one.
I think a new guy, Ben, who's been moved in, like number 6, he's allegedly. And that's
We're not
Right.
100%.
We're not-
How many houses are on St Augustine's?
1 to 7.
Yeah,
1
yeah.
to 7.
Thank you.
and number one hasn't had a letter either. This lady sat next to me, she's not had a letter.
And what number were you? Sorry?
I'm number 3.
Because you didn't have a letter, did
This is
you?
number 4. No, I
One,
didn't have
one
one.
and 3 for definite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
we've
the
already.
one that literally backs directly onto the site.
Yeah, we've got planning notices should be sent to all properties in St Augustine's Close.
And weren't.
And weren't, yeah.
Can we say, when we say inappropriate access for construction, and subsequently to the new properties once they're built?
Yeah, I mean, but it's got that, or this is on here that using this driveway for vehicle access for build and, development is inappropriate.
Yeah.
Can I add, oh, sorry, Sue, you're first.
I think really, what I think that we should say something about no vehicles parking in St Augustine's Close. For any, well, no, because you don't want anybody who is, say it gets built, you don't want them parking in St Augustine's Close because there isn't any
Because
room.
they're having garages, but we all know this day and age, the cars
Yeah.
are bigger. Unless you've got a Mini
Yeah.
or a smart car, you can hardly get the Mini, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still a garage from
Yeah.
planning
And
purposes.
also sort of parking space. I think I put somewhere that there should be construction related vehicles. So in other words, you're talking about the lorries, you're talking about workers' vehicles. So in other words, no construction related vehicles, if this is approved, to be parked on St Augustine's Close because there isn't any room.
Yeah, but I don't like saying that. That's sort of suggesting that they might approve it.
I know.
I'd rather not say that.
Yeah, I think it's inadequate location or a poor location for both the building and the use thereof of the houses afterwards.
Can
Access for the
I add
houses
something
afterwards.
to to this? I've written down the fabric of the existing bungalows adjacent to access is at risk from damage from construction vehicles.
Yeah.
Presumably, you've got no entrances on either of those side walls, have you? They're just from the window.
We've got back gates, just before his big gate.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You've got back gates on adjacent to your actual build corners,
So if
haven't
we were
you?
to come out of them,
Yeah.
then we could get squashed
Yeah.
as the lorries are passing.
Can
As
we,
it's okay with me.
can we have what we got?
Yeah, I was just saying, do you want me to just
Yeah.
recap a little bit?
We've
So,
got most of it.
I think so. So we've got objection, access is inappropriate for the properties or construction vehicles via St Augustine's Close, overlooking neighbouring properties in St Augustine's Close. Not all neighbours have been notified of the planning application, numbers 1 and 3, that are directly affected.
Oh, yeah, only directors 1 and 3. Yeah. Okay.
And we
And
would,
4.
You were notified as well.
Oh, sorry.
Number 4 was notified.
Yeah.
Only number 4 was
Only.
notified.
Only number 4 has been
Number
notified.
1 wasn't.
Number 1 and 3 weren't notified, were they?
No.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think
Okay.
that Tanya's also.
And number 5 wasn't notified. That's the couple that's just gone. They were-
1, 3 and 5, okay.
Tanya's also said that
Oh,
she.
and number 2 were in there too.
But isn't it all apart from 4? All houses weren't notified apart from number 4.
I just put numbers 1, 2, 3 and 5. It's quite
Um,
specific then, isn't it?
Tanya has
Yeah.
also said that she proposed calling it in.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was going to get to that should
Yeah.
it, again, same words as before.
If minded to approve.
Yeah.
Can we add the business of the fabric of existing bungalows? Is it as
Well,
at risk?
again, that's presupposing that it will get approval.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, we have said about the narrow access between the
Yeah,
two
but
properties.
we've also said it's too narrow when they're built as well, if they were built.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, I think I think the guy who said he'd written a HGV, I can't for the life of me think how they will do it because they'll go in cab first and they can't get out.
If they
Yeah,
can't
can't
reverse
see.
up.
No, I mean,
They
it just,
will.
that's right, it ain't going to work.
It will
So,
block it all up.
And a scaffolding widened with poles hanging out and everything. And then if, like he said to me, I'll use smaller, if it gets thing, he said, well, I'll use smaller trucks.
yeah, I remember
If-
Tesco
if
saying
possible.
that when they were going to be up at the top of the hill and we got
Yeah.
massive
If
trucks
possible,
going
we
in
can do
there.
it actually on the main, right side of our bedroom window.
Yeah,
Load it onto.
yeah,
He said, oh, you're miles away. He said, he said it's taken 15 months away. I said, oh.
yeah. No, anyway, I think we've
He's
covered the
just
access
leading
issue.
you,
Again, if
that's
it's called in and they have
He's
to
just
come and look,
leading you,
we can
Mr.
talk
Lewis.
more.
That's the way people lead
Well,
people.
Can
So.
we vote?
Okay,
So I need a proposer and a seconder first of all, yeah.
I'm happy to
Proposer.
propose.
Who's seconding, Nicola?
I think we're proposing to object.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
For those
yes,
reasons I've just read out, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favour?
Thank you.
Oh, did you add that if the committee is minded to approve?
Yeah,
Yeah,
place
yeah,
number
we
there.
got that.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
So that means that we've objected to the planning application.
And we're calling it
And
in.
that we explained about calling it into the last people, but what happens is if the planning officers decide they want to approve your plans, then we object to that, and we're going to get the council of the ward, that is Nicola, to call it in to committee so that councillors have to discuss it in committee and decide whether they object or are okay with the plans. And at that point, if it goes to committee, you would be allowed to go in and speak if that actually happens.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
That is helpful.
Yes, thank you.
And keep in touch with Nicola,
Thanks to the plan application for the
because
skate
she's
park.
your lady for your ward.
There's no objection, I guess we can
As
say.
soon as I know anything, if you email my North Somerset address, as soon as I know anything. Have you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Nicola.Holland at North
Yeah.
Somerset underscore. It's
So
underscore,
leave it
not.
with the underscore. I'll have another look.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you send it to the same people that you sent it to for before, Nicola get a copy anyway.
And thank you. That's
Okay.
usually how we got.
Thank you.
Glamour in it, haven't you?
Sorry.
No, it's been that long since I've
Sorry,
actually
I
looked
am-
at it.
I am just a slight
No,
bit
it's
technical.
all right. No, it's been that long since. No, it is that. Sorry, it is N dash, not N underscore.
I was
I must be
gonna say,
thinking of somewhere else.
Yeah, always use
Yeah.
dash.
I'll double
Yeah,
check.
yeah. N dash Somerset.gov.uk.
Dash.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double check. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Right, 3039.
They must
Right.
Plans, discharge,
rejected.
I just want to sit through the rest now.
Right, okay, okay, right.
Only Dorothy
Let's
left.
crack on.
3039 is our skate park anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no objection, so I propose, yeah, no objection, say no objection.
Comment or?
No comment, no
No.
objection, nothing.
Okay.
No objection?
No
No.
objection,
No,
okay.
I have no
So who proposed that, sorry?
pecuniary interest.
I'll propose that.
And who seconded, sorry?
One second.
Oh, you missed that again, Bob.
I know, I always miss out.
Snooze you lose, Bob.
Sorry?
It's the other Bob.
The other Bob.
That other Bob must be really sneaky.
It's Bob
Are we-
here.
Okay, so we're
Have we
3050, 17 Beechwood.
We voted.
Did we?
You're a bit slow.
Okay,
Yeah.
come on then. Right. You're getting as bad as me when I sit over there. Right. 3050, proposed demolition of existing garage and lower rear extension. Don't know where that is on here. Oh, it's up the top. Right.
Change mine to
Yeah.
no objection.
3050.
17 Beechwood.
Okay. So we've got various. So we got more no objections than we've got objections. You've objected and Bob's objected. So
Yeah. I'm just trying to find my notes.
What did I do, Bob?
You said
no objection.
It's the one which was very illegible, Roger.
Oh, yes.
That's
yes,
right, yeah.
That's right.
That was the
Yeah.
one that
Did we go back to them and say anything about the plan?
Is this
Yeah.
where,
Did
is
they
this
send
where everyone
anything
was saying
back?
they couldn't read the plans?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I,
We still can.
I zoomed in on it and I could read all of it.
I zoomed in, but
I'm
I
not
still,
sure
I
what
still,
everyone couldn't
still,
read.
I can't
still
see it.
wasn't clear.
Probably got better equipment than the rest of us.
Can you,
Well, I'm not going to.
I
I'm
was
not
gonna
going to
say,
deny that.
Can you take that off the recording?
I mean,
Thank you very much, Paddy.
Computer.
You don't need to add any more. That's fine. I'm
Oh,
happy with that.
yes.
You've gone pink.
Honestly, the loss of you.
I think.
It's like children sometimes.
Come on. And if Tanya,
Come on.
if Tanya was here, she'd be really upset by
she
now.
would be, yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
so the balance.
only have one objection, which are you going to find or not?
Where they are, it's right down at the
Paddy
bottom.
said that she would object.
No,
No,
I
she's
just said I
changed.
changed mine to no objection after I looked.
Just zoomed in and it's all there.
I couldn't,
That's what I do.
You have
having looked at it,
This isn't it? It's lovely.
I couldn't actually find a reason to object. I
Right,
wasn't
so that's
happy,
another no.
but
That's
Bob?
the same here,
yeah,
really.
we spoke about this one, didn't we? And we were sort of like, we didn't know whether to object or to
yeah,
not.
yeah, I mean, I did look at it very carefully because it's changing from a 2-story to a 3-story. They're extending the lower level with a balcony above, adding a pitched roof.
Does anyone object online?
No.
Not
No,
when I
and the
looked.
neighbours
no,
don't
last
object.
week.
So I would propose that we say no objection.
Yes.
Who seconded that?
Me.
Right. Those in favour of no objection?
Are you abstaining, Bob?
Abstaining.
So Sue is abstaining as well.
You didn't, you had
No, it's the one across
I
the
was
road.
waving
We had
my
this-
hand
they-
like that.
we
I
had the
wasn't
same issue
sure.
with this a year ago.
So you're abstaining then?
It doesn't need to. you know,
Okay,
be
but you
that-
don't want to, okay, that's.
Yeah, because it is a
fine.
majority, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
Right, so moving on to 2853. There's no objection at all from any of us. And so, again, I would propose we say no objection.
Yep.
Yes, but I'm dying to know what they're going to do with it.
But that's just not part of the meeting.
No.
Yeah, I second that.
Those in favour, no objection? Thank you.
Yeah, I actually put that in the comments. We don't want to be doing it.
3063.
I got 3052.
Oh, okay.
I got 3.
Oh, I missed that one. Sorry, my fault.
352. Oh, that's an MMA.
I'd still
Yeah.
object.
Well, yeah, absolutely sweet.
It's really 62 High Street.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Oh, that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's finished, isn't it? Anyway. Basically, they took the furniture in a week, I think.
They actually finished. So they're going to get rid of all that malarkey on
Beside,
The next road.
beside Impera.
Yeah, well, they put all the building stuff there, didn't they? And then carted it around all the time. Yeah. But basically, there's no objection. So again, I would propose that we say no objection.
I think it's no
Second that.
objection because of actual exasperation.
Thank you.
No,
Sue,
it
did you
is
vote
done.
there?
It's
Yeah.
done.
No
MMA,
objection.
MMA.
Did you vote, Sue?
No, because actually I would have objected, but as most people are happy, I will.
What
Do you want an
Happy's
abstention noted or not?
Are you sustaining?
Do you want, no?
happy is a, you know, it's a dangerous word to use.
It's a fait accompli.
It is.
I know, just put C, not happy.
Well, it was the lack of detail. No plans of changes to the bike store and the retail unit because there was only the plans of the location.
Right, so the next one is 3063.
Yeah.
Oh,
And again, there's no objection.
We have